And that's why my advice is always to do it on your own. Just for the happiness value of it. Fuck the money. If we all said forget the money, we'd make so much more.
Probably not in the short term though, right?
But in the meantime, you're having mad fun. When you're working on your dream, money doesn't matter. If you really, truly love what you're doing, if you're doing it for the love of the art, you ain't really worried about the money in that moment. As long as you can continue to do it.
There's a trade-off though, isn't there? And I've experienced that in my life, and it's kind of what you were speaking to there.
It's the business side of you that keeps talking because you still love money.
Me?
Yeah.
I do love money, to be fair.
That's why you're conflicted.
Yeah. And I think I've taken investment in all the companies I've started. No, not these days, but
sounded like
before.
you have.
Yeah. In the last 10 years.
And it sounded like it gets you uninspired. But that's why when we spoke offline and you said, I quit my job, I was like, didn't you just say you sold a company? How could you still call it a job?
Yeah, I saw the job.
Once it's a job, it's not fun no more. I don't got a job.
When you look at these people, so in Kanye, case, I don't want to talk about him beyond this point, but obviously it's made him a billionaire. The trade-off you're speaking to is that, he's had these frictions with the corporations and stuff like that, but puts him in a position now where he can, as he is doing, go it alone, be an independent.
All I'm saying is, regardless of what, it ends up in war. So if you get either way, either you're going to have to walk away from your company or go to war. One of the two. Correct?
Yeah. Most of the time for a lot of founders,
who the fuck wants to do that?
Yeah. If you look at Steve Jobs with Apple.
Look at you.
He got fired from Apple.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like you went public and got uninspired.
Yeah. Lost control.
Exactly. You gave away your control for money.
Yeah.
Why would you give your freedom? Think about this, right? So when slavery became in America illegal, everyone that had slaves were still lawmakers that used to have slaves. They still were passing laws. So can you imagine this conversation? What are we going to do now? We don't have slaves. Well, we have to make it where they're slaves, but they don't know it. How do we do that? Well, let's suppress them and let's make them fight each other. So every time one kills, we get one killed, and then one goes to jail. We get 2 for 1. Plus, they all have kids. They have kids. So now they don't have parents. They're disenfranchised. So now the kids do the same exact thing because they have nobody to lead them. You understand what I'm saying? It's just the plan to make us think we're winning when we're losing. But what we really do is we give away our freedom. So what happens is you commit a crime, you hurt your brother, and now legally you're in chains. You're put in a cage and you're working for slave wages. And now, instead of slave master or master, it's warden or CO. Or at least that's what we call them in the States. I don't know what they call it's called a correction officer, CO, or warden, whoever runs the jail. It's a plan. So they always trick us into giving away our freedom by dangling a bag.
The bag, though, can sometimes be very big.
But the bag doesn't, it's man-made. Money is man-made. The value of money is made based on what a man says. But real currency is love, and that's God-made. So why would you listen just logically to man telling you that his currency is more powerful than God's currency, which is love? I'm going with God's currency every time, just because it's logical. And that's another thing. Logically, I just believe God has to be a woman. Why? Can you create life? But God creates life. Can a woman create life? So what would be the closest thing to God? The creator of life would be a woman. But of course a man, because they have muscle, would trick the rest of the world into believing that man would be in... If war and people fighting is the least smartest thing in the world to do, and that's men do that all day. It's the most destructive thing to do. It's bad for business, but it's good for someone else's, whoever's selling bullets. You understand what I'm saying? And men do this all day. So if, men been running this shit for a while and shit is fucked up. I would love to see what life looks like with women running things.